I'd like to move now to a talk on women, immigration, and violence by their intimate partners. We will have Dr. Moushami Gongopadhyaya from the Sri Sri University, Orissa in India, speak to us on this subject. Thank you. While we're waiting, perhaps we'll ask our fourth panelist to come up. We have Dr. Rami Verma, the Regional Director of the ICRW. Perhaps you can just come up now. That'd be great. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Hello. Good morning, everyone. And my name is Dr. Moushami Gongopadhyaya. Thank you, Kathleen, for... And I wouldn't have been here if I was not talked to come over by Vinny, because this is one subject which is very dear to my heart. The reason I would tell later, maybe. But this is a subject I'm not very comfortable talking about. Though my doctoral is on domestic violence, I was a part of Home Ministry and have been working on domestic violence for quite a while. My friend Parvati is in US, so she couldn't come over. So I'm going to present the paper on behalf of both of us. The paper is on women, immigration, and violence by their intimate partner. A partner we should be trusting, and someone we have faith in. And in the first place, domestic violence shouldn't happen in any which form. Immigration is an ongoing issue in the United States. Indians are the second most immigrating population. Women are immigrating to the United States as student on student visa, or as wives of the professional workers, as dependent of H, IB, or E visas. The concern is not with the students, but with the wives who go to the US and stay there with their intimate partners. Sometimes the violence do occur in the student fraternity also, because Indian parents, they want them to get married to someone from India, and it's not always the right person they're married to. Intimate partner violence refers to the violence behavior and coercive tactics influenced by an intimate partner onto the other part in order to control and gain power over the victim or the partner. It could be physical, sexual, psychological, emotional, and economic abuse, and or all of the above. Certain scars, they do not stay with you. The physical abuse, after a while it heals. The damages might be there, but visibly things are as if nothing had happened. But the trauma that you go through, it takes you ages to come back, stand on your feet, and believe that you're a human being first. Majority of the immigrants are victims of psychological, emotional, and economic abuse, which are invisible. There are almost no ways to provide any documentation of such abuse. How do you go and tell people that you have been locked in a room by someone whom you trusted? Or you are not given medical attention which should have been given to you after you have gone through a violence attack from your intimate partner? And more often than not, we somehow don't like talking about these. Intimate partner violence is an unmentionable and not talked about concern in the South Asian community, and it is treated as if it does not exist. We know it is there here because domestic violence do exist. But when it happens in our own family, we treat it as if nothing has gone wrong. It's something which should be dealt with among ourselves or sweep it under the carpet. Who wants to look at the dirty picture? No one does, but it exists. It is a trauma which most of the women faces in some way or the other, but we think it's so trivial that we do not even stand up for our right. Family pressure, social custom, rituals also play crucial parts in their silence. Separation and divorce is still a taboo in our culture. Parental pressure also forces these women to remain silent. Feeling of insecurity is another important reason, and so is the fear of something worse. If you are separated or divorced, the first question is, what will happen to your siblings? Where do they go? How do we tell people that my daughter is divorced? And how do we marry off the people or the daughters in my family? Because you have shamed my family. That's the first concern. As if, the entire burden of carrying the societal responsibility lies on the victim's shoulder. Parental pressure. They think what they did is right. It happens in every family. What is different with yours? Why can't you keep quiet and take the suffering every day? So it goes on. The people whom you trusted, whom you thought would stand by you, are not there for you. Insecurity is something. If you are told you're worthless, like someone said, it's an ingrained thing. Everyone likes to believe in themselves. However, if every day, day in and day out, you're told you're worthless, you're good for nothing, you have no standing, where will you go from there? Every day, if someone is said you're ugly, you start believing you are ugly. Every day, if you're said you are good for nothing, you might have trees, you might have a bank balance, but still you believe you're not good for anything. And that's where the insecurities start creeping in from. You don't know where to go if you leave the perpetrator of the crime. You don't know if you have a life after that. Financial dependency, if she is unemployed, is a major cause, especially for women with children. In certain visa category, example H1B, E1, wives are not allowed to work in the United States. This makes these battered women to stay in the abusive relation. You are dependent. In Indian society, we still don't think that we should leave our minor child and go and live a life of our own. We think they are our responsibility. We might not, according to, I quote, unquote, be the right wife as a society expects, but we all, I'm proud to say, must be doing an amazing work in mothering our children. And we do not like to leave the minor. So we have to stay with the minor, and because their well-being, everything is financially dependent on the abuser, you stay back and take the abuse without even remembering anything. Threatened by her intimate partner that if she calls the police for help, he will have her deported and she'll end up with nowhere to go. Parental family, after spending lavish amount for the big fat Indian wedding, washes their hands off in matter related to their married daughter's well-being. Threatened by her intimate partners to report her or her children to the Department of Homeland Security, former INS. I have a question to the audience. Do you think the responsibility or the care of your mother, your parents, or your father ends the day you are married? It shouldn't be the case. Why am I alienated after I am married? Why am I not the daughter of the family anymore? Why I'm treated as an outsider? Why, if things goes wrong, I am blamed? Can anyone answer these? Threatened by an intimate partner that he'll not file papers to give legal immigration status to her and or her children. If he has already filed for her or her children, then threats by an intimate partner to withdraw immigration papers he has filed for her and or her children. And somewhere deep down, everyone thinks that children will have a better life if they stay in US of A. So people do stay back, taking everything. Intimate partner hides or forcibly keep her legal documents and deny access to documents that she needs for her application for lawful immigration status or even for leaving the country. Without papers, you cannot leave a country. And that's the first thing that is done. You keep the papers aside so that they cannot find it. You even sometimes, it's funny, but you even keep it in a bank locker as if it's one of the most valuable things that you ever possessed. Threatened by her intimate partner to take away the full custody of their children and or he will remarry and will not give any of his property to her children if she lives with their children. Even alimony is denied in most of the cases. Our Indian divorce is unfortunately tried most of the time in Indian court. And divorce is an ongoing process. It goes on and on forever. Because if the amount you pay to your lawyer, if you even pay that as an alimony, your wife and your child or your children could have a better life. But we do not think in that way. It's a matter of ego. It's a matter of shame. And we think that how can someone put a legal paper on me? A man divorcing a woman is fine. A woman asking for freedom is not. Threatened by her intimate partner, excuse me, that if she leaves, he will die or commit suicide and blame her for the same. It reminds me of Sholay, Basanti. I'm sure all of you must have seen it, and no one dies. Trust me, if someone has to die, they wouldn't be announcing their death like the way it is done in Hindi movies. Telling her that he will not abuse her again. He's extremely sorry for whatever he has done and will mend his ways. Battered women believe the abusers and stay, and the story continues. How many of us can change ourselves? Very few. How do we expect someone who has been abusing you every day from morning to dusk will change or mend his ways all of a sudden? It happens. I would not say it does not. However, in most of the cases, the story remains the same. Barriers. Lack of available resources in her community. Lack of knowledge where to seek help. Unable to read, write, and or communicate in English, which is the official language in the United States. Unavailability of car transportation or and other means for communication, even lack of knowledge of how to use these things for our benefit. We have this notion that whosoever is staying in USA is literate and knows everything. Is not that. There are people from grassroots level also, girls, wives who goes to US, who have come from interior villages. They have married to people working there with the hope that my daughter will have a beautiful life, which I couldn't provide her in the village. They do not know what is there for them. They do not know, they're not aware of their rights. Unavailability of the services provided in the native languages, such as in Bengali, Hindi, English, Punjabi, Oriya, Gujarati, Tamil, Telugu, and the list is quite a long one. Victims feel isolated even in the shelter, as no one speaks their language and none of the women are there from their own cultural background. You know, if you just lend an ear to someone who has been battered or has suffered abuse, it makes a difference to them. If you just hear their story out, I know it might be a repetition. She might be going like a broken record. But at the end of the day, everyone needs someone to hear them out. But over there, people do not understand her language, and she cannot even vent her feelings. There are few domestic violence programs which does not take immigrants who has unknown or pending visa status. Victims have no access to proper legal information, and resources provided for them are sometimes inadequate. Fear plays a key role in these scenarios. It does not allow these women with lost self-esteem to take action. Fear is not a rational response to whatever challenge stare at us in life. It is all in our mind, within us, and anything external, and it's nothing external to us. How many of us have seen God? How many? Can I see hands up? How many of us seen God? No one. But still we fear God. We love God. Similarly, fear of being abused, fear of to go, fear that I cannot live if I leave the abuser is there. You do not know what is there for you in store, but fear factor is always there, which causes a hindrance for you to take any action. This is some points that we use sometime when counseling women of how to overcome fears, and I thought of sharing it with all of you here. Feel the fear and do it anyway. This method to fight any fear is to take positive action against whatever it is that you're afraid of. This is what courage is all about, to act despite the fear. Educate yourself. Learn more and more about the object that you're afraid of. Due to revolution in information technology, finding about your right is not a difficult task. Ask for information and help. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The fear that people will reject us because I'm trying to break home, the fear that I'm not a good wife, and the fear list is endless. But you have to stand up for yourself, because if you do not believe in yourself, no one else will. Affirmation. Use self-affirmation that gives a positive snip to whatever it is that you fear. Slowly and gradually, it brings back the lost confidence. Visualization. Positive visualization is projecting an image of yourself overcoming your fears and is a powerful technique to fight your fears. One of the most enlightening realizations is recognizing that I have nothing to lose. Haven't they lost enough? So really, they do not have anything more to lose. And people who have read Secrets, they might be knowing that visualizing things really work for your benefit. It's a very age-old technique. Intervention. Orientation on the available resources before immigration. It's very important. People should be told what is there in store for them and what all. If something happens, there is a solution. Indian domestic violence NGOs work in collaboration with US domestic violence NGOs to help victims. Private-public partnership, corporate should come forward to help the immigration. Because after all, the people who are working in US, they are working for some house. If the people who have hired you are aware of it and they intervene, a lot of times things can be sorted. Majority of the immigrants come to United States as dependent of the professional working in US. Corporates should organize meetings and workshops on violence. The spouse should be invited and all the available resources should be made known to her. Primary prevention, education on violence and the awareness of available resources could prevent intimate partner violence. It should be a part of corporate social responsibility, CSR, of the MNCs recruiting workers for US. Before rating, if corporate organize a meeting with the family of the employee and educate on available resources, things are better. NGO government corporate should work in collaboration with Department of Homeland Security and the organization working against violence. Department of Homeland Security provides EU visa to the domestic violence victim to give the victims independent status, which is not known to most of the victims. However, majority of the immigrants victims have no knowledge of this visa. Our question will be dealt later. To be a survivor, first you must bleed. You bleed all that was inside of you. The pain, the memories, the fear, and the wounds fusing together. The ties to what was in and all its forms. You bleed not once, but several times. And when you are empty, you either fade into a shadow or find the strength, courage to live. When you stand up again, you are for a time hollow and worthless, like an empty bottle of beer lying on the street, cracked and reeking of its bitter content. Then you'll fill yourself with a new you. You recreate yourself, you reform. You don't have the same heart or mind. The way you see the world is forever changed, and you realize how beautiful life is. I am a victim and I survived. Thank you.